Hey there, this is Dr. Chris Herrera of Unison Pro Youth Institute showing you how to do a testosterone shot. So we have our testosterone right here. In this case, it's 200 milligrams per mil. You're going to have to keep noteworthy of that because that's going to determine how much that we pull into the syringe. The testosterone is quite thick. This is testosterone cypionate. So because of that, you have to drop in a thicker needle, a wider needle. This is an 18 gauge by 1.5 inches. So you could have 18 gauge by 1 inch or an 18 gauge by 1.5 inches, doesn't really matter. So an 18 gauge, when we inject though, you don't want to put an 18 gauge into somebody because that's going to hurt. So we do 23 gauge. You could use like a 21 gauge, 22 or 23 gauge. If you go any higher than that, you're going to have a hard time trying to insert that into, in this case, the gluteus maximus muscle, or one of those. And then we have, you can use a 1 mil syringe, or could use a 3 mil syringe. And you can see on here, they'll have the measurement on there, 0.1, 0.2, 0.5. In our case, we're going to go with 0.4 milliliters. This is 200 milligrams per milliliter, so that's going to be roughly 75 or such milligrams of testosterone into my own butt. So I'm going to be the specimen here on that. Okay, so we have our wonderful nurse here. We have two wonderful nurses here. We're not going to say their names, but they are wonderful. And we're going to draw it up. And you see he has his gloves on, and he's wiping the top of the bottle with alcohol. He's going to get the syringe. He's going to first, as I've said, use the thicker needle, the wider needle, the 18 gauge needle, putting that into the lunar lock syringe. Don't try to do this with a diabetic syringe. It's too small, and they got like a 30 gauge, which is a very skinny needle on there. And what you're going to do here, it's a little bit tricky. You're going to allow some air in the syringe part because you're going to inject that into the bottle so that when you withdraw the fluid, in this case the testosterone, it'll flow out. So you see how he's doing that? Shoves it in there, turns it upside down so that the liquid is where the tip of the needle is. Just show that a little bit. Maybe you can see that. Okay, thanks. And he's pulling it out. And you can pull in more, and you just shove back. In this case, it's going to go to 0.4. Perfecto mundo. And I definitely don't want that needle going into my butt. So he's going to change that into the 23 gauge in this case. Again, it's 21, 22, or 23 gauge works fine. And you want a 1 inch at least needle length because this is an intramuscular injection. So you want to make sure it gets in the muscle and not in the adipose tissue, which is like, you know, the layer of fat between the skin and muscle. Okay. And when you give the shot, that you're going to go in the upper outer quadrant of the butt, the gluteus muscle, because you don't want to hit the sciatic nerve or vessels in there. And here we go. This is the first time my butt has been on camera that I know of. Yuck, yuck, yuck. So anyway, testosterone cypionate is quite thick, so we use the wider gauge to draw it up. And then we use, again, that 21 or 23 gauge 1 inch needle. You can use a 1.5 inch needle. Just don't shove it like too far in. I didn't even feel that. Is he in yet? This guy gives such great shots, just like you, the other nurse. And you shove it in there, make sure it's in there, and then you pull it out. Pull the syringe out. And you're going to bandage that. You should do pretty well with it. And that is it. It's simple, right? Now you can use your leg muscle, a thigh muscle on that as well. You would inject like right here with it, you know, and such. But I prefer the the butt. And you should alternate sites. So 1 week would be on the right cheek. The next time would be on the left cheek. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Chris Herrera from Unison Pro Youth Institute. Visit us at unisonprojouth.com. Thanks for watching and give us feedback. Sign up for our blogs and for contact information, please. Bye-bye. Thanks.